Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to this live stream. I'm hoping I've set everything up really beautifully. I turned the mic volume up a little bit, so I'm hoping it's not too bad, only a little bit. And I've put it a little further away because I'm going to be picking up lots of books, so I didn't really want to hold the microphone. But I thought it was a good idea to have a separate microphone because even though I'm not speaking to someone live on the screen, which is obviously when you'd need a microphone with earphones and that, so there's no bleed. I don't think I'd need that, but I think it's better than using the iPad one. So anyway, that's my thought process for the sound. Hopefully the sound is okay, but let me know if it's okay because I want it. I can adjust it at the beginning if it's not okay, but hopefully it's okay. And this is my favorite place to film, which is my bedroom with my main bookcase there, and then my other bookcase there, which lately has been on camera as well, which is pretty cool. But I've reshuffled all of my books in this room, so all of those were over there until I reshuffled them because I realized that I kind of use my science fiction stuff a lot more than I use my other ones that I had up there, so I'm kind of swapping them over a bit. All good. I think Elaine's saying the sound is okay, hopefully. So yeah, I thought I wanted to do a catch up live, but I also wanted to chat a little bit about what's happening on Tuesday at the end of the thing. So we'll get there eventually, but I wanted to talk about Rocket Summer for a bit and talk about other things that are coming up on the channel. I've got a list there that I've precariously put near the light, and I'm hoping that there's a variety of stuff I want to talk about anyway. So a little bit of preliminary bollocks before I start talking properly. I'll say hello to people first. So Elaine was here first thing, very early. Description sounds like a Lord of the Rings reference. Shape of Things to Come. Yeah, I think that is that paraphrasing a chapter title, maybe? I'm not sure. Smoke affecting you guys. Yeah, let us know how you are on that. That's why you said all good airwise. That's right. Things to Come sounds like a sci-fi story. It is a sci-fi story because it's a H.G. Wells book. And he wrote that. I wrote that down on here, didn't I? A much more optimistic response to Brave New World. Aldous Huxley. He wrote it just after that came out. Hi, Heidi. Was that Constance? Yeah, hi, Constance. Sorry, I didn't say hi. And Chris is here. Hi, Chris. I wanted you guys to. I was hoping he'd be here because I'd say have a look at his channel because it's brilliant, and he's posting. He's almost at 100 subscribers. So if the few people that are on here at the moment haven't subscribed to Chris's channel, it's so good. And if he gets to 100 subscribers, I remember how it felt like to get 100 subscribers, and it felt awesome. So subscribe to his channel if you want a guy to be rambling about the stories he's been reading because it's great. And he gave me this book, which I will talk about in a second. I've been reading a lot from this book over the last couple of days. But yeah, have a look at his channel, Busted Shelf. It's awesome. It's funny because I just said how good it was when I went to 100 subscribers. And there's plans for another BookTube meetup this time in Oxford. We might be meeting up in Oxford, which would be really cool. And obviously we've done a few now. I feel like I know these people quite well now, which is great. So it's a brilliant thing. It's a lovely thing. But I always remember the first one I went to, I had about 600 subscribers or something. And most of the other people had over 1,000. And it felt like I was like in crazy company where, it was like, I'm not worthy to be with these people that had over 1,000 subscribers. So it really does. It really is a massive boost, and it's a really good feeling if you do end up climbing, whatever speed you're climbing at. It really does. It really does make a difference because you feel like, you know, somebody is interested in what you're doing. And yeah, it's funny that obviously I've had over 1,000 for a while, so it seems kind of interesting. I can still relate to it, so it's not weird. But I do remember being in awe of these people that I was meeting up with in London who had all these thousands of subscribers. It's amazing. So yeah, getting to 100 is a really cool feeling. So if that does happen to Chris soon, that'd be great. He's got a really good channel. So yeah, I put that on, and then yeah, Elaine said, "All good airwise, that's good." And then, why am I out of breath? I was sitting here for a while without, without rushing. I was here, ready early, because I did put, I set it up for 10 past deliberately, knowing that I might have been rushing if it was 0:00. For some reason, it kind of works better. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We'll talk about this in a minute, because I did want you guys, if anyone's watching the chat that has got an interest in Adrian Tchaikovsky, then this is a good place to put a question as well. If you do want me to ask him something, me and Dave have been talking about it, and we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's going to be lots of people in the chat, or if it's a bad timing and lots of people won't be able to watch it live, and we don't know, you know, how much time he's got either, you know. So it's all a bit of an unknown. But if there are questions people tell me in advance, I can at least have it ready. I've got a bunch of questions. Dave's got a bunch of questions. His questions are different to mine, which is quite cool. We're going in at different angles, but you probably know that we're both big fans, so it's very, very special. So yeah, I'm going to be asking him about his writing and about his approach, and I think Dave's got a question about that as well, but also about the way he marries up some of the aspects of his books. And I realized today I want to ask him about Service Model, because I love that book, but it's so different to the other things that he's written. So things like that, you know. I just read Saturation Point. I just read that one, which is brilliant. And there's something happening with this on his website. It's either being made into a video game or a TV series. I can't remember which one it is. It's on his website. So I'll be just talking to him about that as well. I'll be asking him about that. And I did mention BeSpeaker in that video I did about the reading project I've got. So I haven't started this yet. And I won't start it before we talk to him, because it's obviously in a couple of days. But the other two books in this series, The Dogs of War and Barehead, are fantastic books. So I'd say two of his best, I think. Thank you, Elaine. Yeah, please hit the like. That would be really nice. Constance is good. That's good. It's important. That's good. People saying hello. Hello. You saw a very old movie from this story, Fuzzy Memory. Yeah, there is an old black and white film adaptation of The Shape of Things to Come. There is, yeah. It might actually be called Things to Come. I think the film is called Things to Come. Oxford reminds me of the Doomsday Book. I love that book. Is that here? Because I move things around. Yes, I have. There it is. The Doomsday Book. Really good book. It's one of my favorite time travel books, and my top 10 time travel novels video that I did ages ago, about 5 years ago, has that book in it. So yeah, as you can see, the science fiction stuff's more accessible. Right, thanks everyone. Yeah, Chris, honestly, such a good channel and such a lovely guy. So exciting you'll be able to meet him virtually. It's a bit crazy. Yeah, I'm hoping I will be not as visually in awe as I might be, but I'm just hoping it'll be very cool. He has done lots of interviews with people on YouTube. He's very open to doing these things. So obviously, I didn't expect him to say yes to me and Dave necessarily because we're small channels, but he does do a lot of interviews. He's definitely generous with his time, you know. Ask Adrian Trikoski, will he be writing a sequel to Service Model? I love that book. Yeah, I'll ask him about that because how does it end? I can't remember how it ends. It's a complete story, isn't it? Where should I start with Adrian Trikoski? I've never heard of him. Okay. Where should you start? His most famous book and it is his best book because it's literally in my top three of all time, top three books of all time. Children of Time is the really famous one. It's quite a big book. If you read quickly, then just go for that. But if you don't read big books or don't read particularly quickly, then Dogs of War is a good one to start with. That's really good and quite typical of him as well. I'd say his novellas aren't as good as his novels. The two I've read, I forgot what they're called, but I've loved everything he's written. I did like them as well, but yeah, Alien Clay was good as well. I mean, Children of Time is a good place to start. So yeah, if you're up for reading that, have a look at how big it is and all that, and see if that's your style. But it's just a masterpiece, basically. Where would you start? So Agatha's saying, I only have Children of Time at hand, but can dip into the library. Yeah, I mean, it's a great way. I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Because it's such a great book, then nothing else has matched that yet. But that's because it's a high bar. That doesn't mean he's not writing good books. The other book, honestly, I love everything I've read by him. But it's just one of those books that I just think everything about it works. The pacing is amazing. There's no wasted page. There's so much going on. There's very strong evidence that he researched into the biochemical aspects of it, and the way that the spiders evolve and the way that the society is created is just phenomenal. And that married up with the human story as well, which is really compelling as well. There's two stories going on in Children of Time. You've got the spider story and you've got the human story as well. And both of them are very different, but they're both really compelling. And it's just so brilliantly written. It's crazy. Ask him, can he recommend an author or a hidden gem to us? Yeah, I'd like to ask him about authors that he really likes. And yeah, favorite novels would be or stories, because if he's a science fiction fan, which clearly he is, then he's probably got lots of favorite short stories as well as novels, because there's so much great science fiction that are short stories. But yeah, I will ask him about favorite authors and a hidden gem. I'll try and I'm going to look back on this chat for any questions, and I'll use that phrase. If one of his books could be adapted to a TV show or movie, which one would he want it to be? Well, yeah, he's got that on the go actually. So he has said stuff on his website, but there might be something else that he'd really like to be developed. Where is Cherry Moon? She's outside. She's not allowed in this room anymore. Those curtains are not in the state they were originally. So they look fine from this angle, but if you look at the other side, then it looks like a kitten has had her claws at them. So she's not allowed in this room now. It's a shame, a big shame, because we really like the fact that she wanted to sleep on the bed, and she's a very affectionate cat, which is lovely. She follows me around all the time. She's probably outside, but if she's going to damage the room, what can you do? I will be, definitely. I'm reading Children of Time in October. Awesome, for a buddy read with Nicole at Shelf Esteem. Oh, Shelf Esteem. Yeah, right. Brilliant. Good channel. Awesome. I'd love to know what you think, Heidi. Morning. You're meeting Tchaikovsky. It's crazy. Dogs of War completely impressed me because I had not heard of him when I read it. Yeah, it's a really good book. And it's different to, it's obviously part of a series, so you can't say it's different to everything else, but it's got a smaller story, I'd say, than a lot of the stuff he writes. He does a lot of world building in his stuff, which is one of the things I'm going to talk to him about, hopefully, because he started off as a fantasy writer and then started doing science fiction after that. Ask him, is there an author, living or dead, he would like to write a book with? Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Because it's not, I haven't, because I don't think it would do any favors for the advertising of it. I haven't put "is this thing on" the title of the show, but it's me and Dave, and I did say to him, do we give him the 8 questions? And he's like, I don't know, does he want to get those 8 questions? So it might not be like a normal show, but I am going to send him a message to ask him to bring biscuits because he's English. I'm sure he'll love that. I'll ask him now I'll ask him how he evolved the team dynamics of the characters in Dogs of War. As a team, they work so well, but they're also disparate and not human, but so convincingly felt like aspects of humanity. Yeah, well, that continues on. So I've read the second book now, Barehead, and I won't tell you who, but there are clearly characters he wanted to use again or reference again, or he's building this world that's specific to the Dogs of War series. So when I start reading Bee Speaker, I expect a similar kind of thing where there are going to be references to the previous books as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know if he built that team up for the book or if he thought what he was going to do with it, because the second book is quite different, and I get the impression this is quite different as well, because the Bee character in the other 2 books would kind of suggest a different kind of book, I think. But yeah, keep them coming. If you've got other questions you want to ask him, like I said, I'll try and, I don't know how the flow is going to go. I don't know what it's going to be like as far as the actual doing of the interview. I don't know if he'll, like when we spoke to Mark Scott Zicree, which was a very special thing. When we spoke to him, he we didn't have to say that much. He talked for ages. It was great, and he stayed for a lot longer than he said he was going to stay as well. So there's lots of things that we didn't expect to happen that happened, So, I definitely would love to have some questions ready that you guys want me to ask, but I can't guarantee that I'll get them all in. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Agatha says, I wonder what his writing habits are. Time of day, hours spent. Yeah. Well, one of the things, because he gets criticized for writing so much, which blows my mind, but there you are. People want to be negative about all sorts of things, don't they? And they will, some people, some snooty, snobby people, they start reading his stuff in a kind of a cynical way. You can tell from the way they review the books, because they're already making an assumption, because he writes a lot, that they're not going to be as developed. And I've seen him in interviews talk about the fact that his writing routine is like a job. It's like a 9 to 5 thing. He works hard in that period of time. So it's not like he just floats about and does a bit, then leaves it for a few days and then does a bit. He's at it all day. So I think that's why he's so prolific. It's not because he's not putting the effort in. It's that he is putting the effort in. That's why he's managing to get so much done. So yeah, I will talk to him about that. I think Dave's question is based around that as well. But we will touch on the productivity and how much he's, because one of the things I want to ask him is what he's got on the go at the moment, or what he's going to be publishing. And I wouldn't be surprised if he says there's 3 or 4 things on the go, because I think that's his approach in general. Constance says, I'm always interested to know how a creative person's dreams influence them. Oh, okay. Or are influenced by what they're writing. How his dreams influence. Yeah. So if he's dreamt some of the aspects of his books, if he's dreamt a scenario or a world maybe, and Have you seen the Odyssey? Right. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to bounce off what Constance has just said, because Chris, if you're still in the chat, you've put up a video where the end of your video, you talked about a book that you'd bought by Jimmy Webb, where he talks about songwriting. And I teach songwriting, and I've been writing songs for over 30 years. And, you know, regularly get royalties for them. And I've had people cover my songs, blah, 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 blah. And I immediately thought when I saw your video, oh, maybe I should do a video about that. But then it would be so out of kilter with the channel. I don't know if that would make sense or not, or if people would be like, oh, cool, you know, watch it. So that's something I could ask you guys, if you think that's an interesting subject for a video. How do you write songs? And has my time writing songs evolved? Yeah, has it changed the way I write songs over time? So if you think that's a good idea, then I can do that. And there's sort of well, lyrics in particular is something that I think there are kind of shortcuts you end up developing, and there's certain ways that you can tell a story, or certain things you can do in lyric writing that is not necessarily telling a story actually, but there's so many different ways of writing songs. Narrative songwriting, I think, is more difficult, certainly more difficult for me than more kind of philosophical, personal feelings kind of lyrics. So I'm impressed with people who can write narrative songs. I think that's kind of different. It's still really hot. It's like 11:30 at night and it's still really hot. Okay, so Chris says he would watch, so that's cool. I will tackle the Odyssey question now. So I've got a load of other things I want to talk about, but that's fine, because we talked about Adrian Tchaikovsky for a bit. If anyone's watching this double speed to catch up from catching this after it started, then please add an Adrian Tchaikovsky question if you like, and I'll try and remind people that I'm up for that in this chat, so that hopefully we'll get some questions. Have I seen the Odyssey? I'm going to see it next week. So I almost saw it, but my wife's gone away for a few days, and I really want to see it with her, because it's a big epic film, and I've been talking to her about some of the controversy about the film, and she very typically is just mocks the ridiculousness of it, and I think I'm really pleased it's done well, because of the criticism. I haven't seen the film yet, but the criticism seems so naff. So if it wasn't a good film, that would be different, but it sounds like people are criticizing it for really strange reasons. But I have studied the Odyssey as well, so I've got an A-level in classical civilization. So if you're an English person or British person, you'll know what an A-level is. I'm not sure how to describe what an A-level is to Americans or Canadians. It's the next step up from. It's the bit before you do a degree. So that we have 3 levels here. We have the qualification you get when you leave school, and then you get another qualification if you go on to do college, which would be A levels. And if you go to university, then you'll obviously get a degree, and that's the 3rd level. And obviously you keep going, you can get a master's degree, you can get a doctorate, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I've got an A level in classics, so we did study the Odyssey and the Iliad, and like the plays like Aristophanes and stuff like that. And I actually did I don't know if this is interesting or not, but I did a special project. We had to pick anything that we wanted to do on, and I did a special project on Juvenal, who's a Roman satirist. And what I thought was really interesting, once I started looking into it, Juvenal used to write these kind of commentary things in the Roman press at the time, and he'd be absolutely taking the piss out of the politicians, and because of the savage way he did it, their response was to say it was childish and and they kind of try and belittle it, which is why we get the word juvenile from juvenile. So his name was Juvenal, and the word juvenile, which means childish, comes from that, the criticism that he got for mocking the politicians. So I think that's really interesting. I did a special thing where I compared what he did to a British satire that was of relatively recent times. So that was kind of fun to do. I quite enjoyed that. So I didn't. It wasn't a really fun A level, to be fair, because we had a teacher that just used to literally dictate to us for the entire lesson. He didn't really put a lot of heart and soul into the teaching. He'd be I don't know, struck off or heavily criticised nowadays. You can't teach like that anymore. But yeah, that was funny. Anyway, to get back to the point about the Odyssey, I haven't seen it yet, but I definitely am interested. I really like the Odyssey as a book and a story, and I like Christopher Nolan. I like the cast that he's cast as well. I really like Matt Damon a lot. I've heard lots of people say that the beginning is a bit slow, but that's actually quite typical of Christopher Nolan. And apparently the third act is phenomenal. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. So I'll be watching it next week. So you say you're getting FOMO. So does that mean you want to see it, or you mean you've already seen it and you want to see it again, and you feel like you're, or is it's just you can't get to see it? Is that what it is? I'm not sure. I'd like to know, Heidi. How is your hair? How's Your Hair is the massive hit that the Brown Yelp Gang had, which shocked them because they were drunk when they recorded it, and it was only 20 minutes of them saying how's your hair over and over again. Elaine has told me she's going to be doing a review of the book soon, which is very exciting, and she did ask me a question about the book, and I haven't had a chance to check it out, which is really annoying, so apologies, Elaine, for not getting back to you on that yet. O levels fancy. Yeah, I've got a few. Obviously I couldn't have done my history degree without a history A level, so I've got a history A level, and obviously classical civilization is kind of like history, but it's obviously ancient history. We do our history program at college has expanded, which is really interesting. So we've got a classics A level you can do at college, but there's also your normal history, which for years it's been this guy that's done like Germany and China and modern America, stuff like that. But then there's a new strand of history that we've done with Tudors and the witch hunting, and what else is there? Something else that she does. I can't remember. It's like the medieval setting kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen my history videos that I've done on the channel, but my two favorite subjects to study was the Civil War, the English Civil War, and the peasant revolts in the 1300s. I think those two things are really interesting. I love those two things. Fear of missing out. Yeah. No, I get that. Oh, hold on, Heidi. I want to see the movie now, but I have to wait for when it's streaming. Watching bits on YouTube, people are shooting videos of the screen. Oh, really? That's cheeky. Oh, it's a shame that you can't watch it in the cinema. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, I guess. Yeah, there's a few films I want to see that I missed in the cinema. One in particular that I've just appeared on our TV called Begonia, I think it's called. I really want to see that, with Emma Stone. Really want to see that. And I did see Supergirl and I really liked it. So I don't understand why people didn't like Supergirl. I thought it was really good. There's a guy that I watch. He does loads of TV and film commentary videos called John Campier. He's quite well known in that kind of version of YouTube. And he did a brilliant video today or yesterday, might have been yesterday, talking about how he was really annoyed that he did a negative review of Supergirl, and then someone made a comment saying, "Oh, it's really nice to see an honest review," and he was saying how ridiculous it was that that person was saying it was honest because it was negative. And he said, "I liked the Superman one, and I was just as honest when I said I liked the Superman one. It's not honest just because you criticize something." And I thought that was a really, really good and important thing to say, that people don't like it if you praise stuff. They say that you're, especially, and if it's people like John Campea who could potentially get invited to special screenings and get gifts from the, the producers or whatever. There's this assumption that they're always going to like the film, or they're going to say they like the film, and they call them shills. And it's such a bullshit way of looking at people reviewing videos, and it's such a, he was saying that he wants to be the person who is seen to like movies. He wants to be, his channel to be mostly positive, and he's aware when there's a string of negative videos that you want to put some positive stuff up there. And I'm the same with this channel, this book channel. I don't even review stuff that really, pretty much, I don't review stuff if I think it's crap. I just won't talk about it. I'll talk about it if it's kind of controversial and kind of interesting, and if there's something a bit funny about it, like when I did that video about Up the Line by Robert Silverberg, which had some really weird things in it, sort of dodgy sexual things in it. But that was because that was in it. I didn't like the book much, but I tend to do reviews of books I like, and I feel exactly the same way that he does. I shouldn't be seen as someone who isn't being honest because I like something, and he's obviously got thousands and thousands of subscribers. He is genuinely an influencer. People like me aren't influencing people in the same way, but what he's saying is that he shouldn't be accused of not being honest because he's being positive. I think that's a really, really good video. So yeah, big up to John Campea. Jeff's here. Awesome. Hi, Jeff. Yeah, I don't know if you can relate to that. Jeff, do you watch John Campea? Have you heard of him? That'd be interesting. I thought it was just telling me there was one person on screen, but it's my eyesight. I'm not really seeing it properly because I haven't got my glasses on. It's okay. There's more than one person here. The new history course sounds interesting. Yeah. I was so pleased that they did it. It was because they could have always done it, but just the new teacher that was offered to teach history, she said she'd rather teach those elements of history, and so would I actually. So I haven't been offered the chance to teach history yet. Well, I say that I was in the early days. I was asked if I would like to do it, and at the time I didn't want to do it because my focus was on doing building up the music courses, ironically after getting a history degree. But now I'd be more up for it, but I would especially be more up for teaching the other course rather than that course. So but she's, that's her timetable. She needs to do all that. Life's too short to spend too much time talking about stuff you don't like. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to encourage people to enjoy the books and stories I like, or the films and TV I like. To encourage someone to not watch something or to not read something, who do you think you are? Do you know what I mean? It's like they might like it and you just stop someone from enjoying something. That's what I don't get. Have heard of him, but not watched him. Yeah, I think he's interesting. He definitely is very eloquent and knows what he's doing. He doesn't. He does say in that video actually that when he's live, sometimes he will forget an actor's name or something. But it flows really well what he talks about. He's very good. Thank you, Chris. I've had people say that they've read something because of my channel, which is nice, but people like John Campea on a different level. They've got thousands of people watching him constantly. No, I appreciate that very much. Some humans just want drama. Yeah, I prefer positive vibes. Yeah, well, that's the thing, that he was saying that he literally loses money by not doing deliberately negative videos because he's earning money all the time from his channel because it's such a big channel. So he knows that he's losing money, but he still won't do it. And I think that's the right approach, but it's also quite honourable in a lot of ways. And he says that because the negative stuff gained so much more attention, and because it's the stuff that people think is more honest, there would be people who would be disingenuous and actually lie to do a negative video, because that's where the money is. So he does suggest, I think he's right, that you're more likely to get a dishonest video from a negative one, because they're possibly doing it for the clicks, for the money. So his point is really good. I don't understand the attraction to native stuff anyway, and it drives me nuts that I just feel like if someone brings a film out, it's almost certainly going to be panned and people start criticizing it often before it's come out. And I just don't get it. This new culture of slagging everything off. I don't understand why people don't want to like stuff. So many examples, and I just don't get it. It's bullshit. I was going to do a separate video on that, by the way, but I've done it now. Most of us on BookTube aren't trying to be influencers. We just want to share the stuff we love, enjoy reading. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice if it happens, but we're not doing the presentation that I think the people that are influencers, the ones that have thousands and thousands of people looking at them all the time, there's a certain way they do it, like certain music they have, certain ways they even greet you at the start of a video, and certain ways that they're positioned and how they look. Certain things that those content creators do that's different to people that are a bit more chatty like us. So it's more of a byproduct if we're influencing people in that sense, I think. I wouldn't read the Clip Nebula for just anyone on my channel. Yeah, I've forgotten I'd written that. But yeah, there's clearly, I think it's because I was getting I was definitely in that kind of Spinal Tap frame of mind when I was writing the Brown Yelp Gang, and I was and I clearly, it's very rude word, certainly when you say it out loud. When it's written like that, it's written with a K, so it might not be the same thing. But yeah, the Brown Yelp Gang definitely has some things in it that are me just, it's self-published. I can write whatever I want. Constance says, I read Flowers for Algernon. Yay! Largely because you reminded us about it. Oh, awesome. Because to read it. That's great. That is awesome, because I love it very much. It is the one I often say is my favorite. Where is it? Is it here? Hello? I thought I'd put it up there. I thought I'd put it up there. It's probably... That's disturbed me a little bit. But I have mentioned this one, which is the only other film, the only other book I've seen by him. And I'm going to read it, and I'm intrigued to know what it's like. He's clearly right, but it'd be nice if it's really good. If it's not, then it's not. But it'd be nice if it is. But I've got that on hand now. I wonder where it's gone. Is it down there? No. A lot of the anti-Supergirl buzz is political. Well, yeah, but I don't even understand that. So what are they saying is political? The fact that it's a female character? Because Supergirl has been around for ages, and you're not going to have Supergirl cast as a man, are you? So I don't understand what the political angle is. I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive, but I don't see it. Agreed about sharing what we enjoy. Absolutely. It's Mike. Hey, I was just about to change my channel name to Mike Slags Everything Off. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what though. You don't, because you do say there's some things you don't like that I do like, and you do say things like, you know, uh, a lot of modern science fiction you don't like as much as old science fiction. I won't necessarily try and quote what you said, but it's not a focus of your channel. Your channel is mostly positive stuff, and and you're very humble when you do say something more negative. You often say, "This is just what I think," and it's a different way of doing it, and you know, uh, um, yeah. Mike slags everything off. Better trademark that before someone else snatches it up. I did manage to read it on the screen without falling over laughing. Quite proud of myself. The Clit Nebula, yeah, it's a very rude word, and I apologise for anyone I might have offended by saying that. A lot of it seems to be based on the lead actress' comments in the media. Well, again, how many people saw those comments, and were those comments after she was attacked for being ugly, which is just bizarre because she's got really striking features. I think it's she's a really interesting actress from all sorts of angles. I think she's a really good actress, but also I think she looks like you can't take your eyes off her as well. I think that's really good casting. I don't get it. I don't get it. And dislike of James Gunn's management of the DCU when he's only been there 5 minutes. So how does that work? How are people annoyed about his management? All he's done is he's created a really cool Superman film, and he's carried on with Peacemaker, and Peacemaker's fantastic. Creature Comforts, Creature Commandos. Was it Creature Commandos? That was really good. And then the other thing is Supergirl. I don't get the issue. Oh, Suicide Squad as well. That was fantastic. Suicide Squad. So what have people got a problem with? Jeff, if you can tell me this, if you can explain to me what people have got a problem with James Gunn about, that'd be awesome. James Gunn has made some fantastic decisions. He's a brilliant filmmaker. I don't get it. I don't get it. There's something else coming up. The ugly comments were disgusting. Yeah. She's very attractive. Also, she was universally praised by fans and critics. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like a very good piece of casting from the point of view of the marketing, and how popular she was when she was in House of Dragon. And then people decided to start hating on her. Haters gonna hate. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's why I haven't seen it yet. So I don't know if I'm gonna feel the same. But just from the point of view of all the slagging off that the Odyssey got before it came out, I'm so pleased it's done well. Just because of all this negative shit around the internet, and it is the internet, because I bet you Joe Public out there doesn't give a shit about what the internet says, but there was so much of that. I'm really glad it's done well, because I think Christopher Nolan is a great filmmaker. So if I go and see it and I don't like it as much as I'd like to like it, then that's fine. I still will be glad it's done well because of all the crap that's been thrown at it. Whereas with Supergirl, it's like the public were the public didn't go see it either. So I don't know if it's because they just didn't want a Supergirl film, because I think the original '80s one didn't do very well either, from what I know. Yeah, from what I've heard. So are you talking about Supergirl attractiveness? If so, I have a little crush on her. Yeah, I mean that's the thing that I don't know. One, you should never do that anyway. You should never like like mob mentality. Attacking an actress for their looks is insane anyway. But also, I can't even think of an actress that you would do that to legitimately anyway. I mean, if that makes sense. There's no legitimacy in this anyway. But do you know what I mean? It's like that does not surprise me that Goatman's saying that, because yeah, that would happen. A lot of YouTubers that hate on this stuff are on a certain political spectrum. That's true. That is absolutely true. And I can see it coming half the time, and I can just ignore it. But I just don't get it with Supergirl, because I couldn't see any politics in it. I couldn't see, when you've got, because I understand that the Odyssey thing, they don't like the fact that Elliot Page exists anyway, but also the book that he's been mostly influenced by, has been described by the translator as a feminist take on it. So that's going to freak people out who are on that side of the spectrum. Absolutely. So that's not a weird thing to that's not that weird has happened, but it all happened before the film came out. So that's why I'm glad it's done well, because they didn't even see the film. They didn't give it a chance, you know. So so I get that, but I just don't get it with Supergirl, because there's no politics in Supergirl from what I could tell. I was just watching it and just enjoying an action film. Most hate towards Supergirl originated from Streaky the Super Cat. Justice for Streaky. Yeah, there is a cat in it. Is that what you're talking about? The actual cat in it. It's so cool the way that, I mean, because I think if Supergirl had been just an exact copy of Superman, and I genuinely don't know if that's a thing in the comics because I haven't read the Supergirl comics, but just from a point of view of the cinema, if it had just been another Superman but it was just a woman, then fine, it probably would have been an enjoyable film, but it wouldn't have been as interesting as a completely cynical, had enough, barely getting out of bed kind of superhero. You know, she does go through a bit of a journey through this relationship we've got with this character. It's basically True Grit. The plot is basically True Grit, with some people trafficking involved as well. But the True Grit element of it, the girl that she helps out, kind of takes her on a journey as well, if you like. And it's a really nice plot device. It's a very good plot, and the characterization of Supergirl was really interesting. Great actress. The villain was a bastard as well. I thought the villain was real, like it's like a Tim Roth kind of actor, and he was a nasty piece of work, and apparently a weak villain. I don't get it. I thought the villain was absolutely bastard, and straight away he thought he could do something to Krypto the dog, which would be upsetting. I mean, Elaine's in the chat and she doesn't like anything happen to any dogs, but if something happened to Krypto for gratuitous reasons, that would have been horrible. I don't think James Gunn would have let that happen anyway, because he loves dogs, but it might have happened for a plot device, because often that works, obviously John Wick and that kind of thing. But and there was that element, because he does get, because she's got to find a antidote for what he does to Krypto. But all that stuff's good plot, man. It was a really good film. I didn't realize I was going to talk so much about Supergirl, but that's the joy of live streams, right? Any guy dressing in drag as a comedy only can take the piss about attractiveness, otherwise it shouldn't be a thing. Wow, it's such it like I think Jeff said, it's just disgusting. It really is disgusting. And poor woman, you know, I mean, she might have thought, I just don't want to see the public now, you know. Who knows what she's thinking? It's just a horrible thing to do. People saying hello. Jeff, also correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but isn't the Source comic series that Supergirl is based on rather controversial? I forgot what it was called, but there was a specific story which I haven't read, but Mike would have read, that it was based on. Again, quite a modern one, I think. Yeah, the Supergirl character is more nuanced, isn't it? I mean, I thought the Superman film was brilliant, but they leaned into some of the innocence of his character. I thought that which was really good, and the threat was pretty well done. So it was just a very good film all around. But the Supergirl film and what they did with it, they made her really interesting in itself. You know, just her character was just interesting anyway. So that was really cool. Perhaps the general darkness of the film's plot and cinematography turned the masses off. Yeah, but I don't know, they would have had to have been in the cinema you know, it makes more sense to me that if that was a thing, they went to the cinema and then walked away going they didn't like it much, rather than they just didn't even go to see it. Because from the publicity, you could see there was a cynicism about it and a little bit of humor in it and a little bit of like can't be asked kind of feel from her. But I don't know. if how dark it was is obvious in the trailer. So I don't know. Word of mouth, I suppose, maybe. But there's a lot of crybaby masculinity. Women aren't supposed to be tough, according to people on the right. Yeah, crybaby masculinity. I like that. Supergirl has a spaceship bus stop. Slightly better than True Grit. Yeah, that's not in True Grit, is it? It's a good plot device, like she's gonna help somebody out for revenge, and she keeps saying to this girl, don't do it, it'll change you, you don't want to murder somebody. And I don't know, I can't remember, I don't think that's a thing in True Grit, but it's quite cool because obviously she keeps kind of following Supergirl around. That's done quite well as well. Supergirl doesn't even want to help her out, and then kind of gets forced into it a little bit. And I won't tell you how it ends, but it's very good the way that the whole revenge thing is resolved. What's your absolute favourite part of your trip to Germany? The train ride up the mountain, tram ride up the mountain, the beer, or the meat sandwiches? Definitely my trip up the mountain was my favourite. My two favourite meals, the Indian curry I had in one evening, and I made a joke about it. I said you can't get more British than an Indian curry, but I really enjoyed my chicken madras, and I really enjoyed on the airport home. I had a fantastic Thai curry. It was a salmon Thai curry. It was gorgeous. And I just keep getting disappointed by food I have on holiday. It's fine, but it's not amazing. That amount of times that happens. But I did have some nice meals, but they weren't particularly Bavarian. There was one I had that was really nice. I had a beef brisket in this big beer, big brewery kind of pub thing, huge restaurant, and that was nice, but still not as good as the two Asian meals I had. Woman of Tomorrow, that's it. It got some of the hate when it came out as well. So the actual comic got some hate as well. That's interesting. So it's not just on poor old Millie Alcock. Hi, Constance. No bad stuff to dogs, please. Yeah. Well, it would have seemed, if it was like, because obviously the whole plot evolved around her trying to get the antidote. If it had been really violent, if he'd kicked the dog or something, that would have been horrible, and it would have felt gratuitous, Something happened to the dog. We'll never see John Wick. Know the story, and nope, I can't wait to see it. I still haven't seen it, and there's like about 4 films now, and then there's that new one, and the new one didn't do very well, presumably because there was a woman as the main character. What's wrong with people? But yeah, I do really. I'm waiting to see John Wick with my wife because she's up for seeing that, and we have access to it, so definitely want to see it. And apparently it's amazing, so I'm expecting to me. Can you tell me, guys, if you like John Wick? Because I feel like there's a gap in my viewing. Where are we? Yeah, Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah. That was what it's based on. Are you a Squeeze fan? I am a Squeeze fan. I just watched their documentary. Who's better, Jules Holland or Paul Carrack? Well, Paul Carrack has got a much better voice. He's got a fantastic voice, and Jules Holland's a better piano player. So they do different things. I also like Jules Holland as a TV presenter as well. But no, Jules Holland's a great piano player. Paul Carrack did play keyboards in Squeeze, but he was mainly the singer, and he's a fantastic singer. I love Paul Carrack's voice. The stuff he sang with Mike and the Mechanics is also awesome. What's that called? The Silent Running? Yeah, Silent Running. I love that song from Mike and Mechanics. Curry is generally reliable. Yeah. I don't usually get curries in pubs because I've been burned a couple of times. I wouldn't get lasagna in a pub either. It's probably just warmed up in a microwave jobby. But curry from most places, yeah, you're likely to get a good good meal. Still shocked you didn't sing on the Alps. There was someone near me doing a little video of her singing, which I thought was quite funny. No, the Hills Are Alive. Shame. Yeah. Watch the video though, Jeff. It's cool. It's a good video. I'm gonna try and adjust this a little bit. John Wick is great, despite the motivation doggy death. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yes, it was revenge for the dog dying, isn't it? Yeah. I assumed, I don't know why I had it in my head that he'd probably get the dog at the end of the film, like rescue the dog, but it's not. It's revenge for the dog dying, isn't it? Yeah, I've heard it's great. So, and I liked. I feel like it's probably going to be like, what's it called? What's the Liam Neeson one? When he says, you know, I've got loads of special skills. What's that called? Oh my God, what's it called? I've seen the first two. There might be a third one as well, but they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant films. I imagine John Wick's like that. Tell me if I'm correct, because that's what I imagine it's like. I've only seen the first two John Wick films, but the action's superb. Yeah. Yeah, the Barbarina one, female John Wick film. Yeah, yeah. Well, she's brilliant, isn't she, as an actress? So, yeah, I think it's the same director, isn't it? It started to stretch my suspension. Well, I watched the film. Oh, what was it called? The Amateur. I think it's called The Amateur, and it was very cool. And basically, the guy was. It was a big action thing, and he was going up against the big corporate giants that had loads of muscle behind them and loads of firepower behind them. It was Rami Malek, and some of the things he did in the film, you were like, that's a bit strong. You know, it's a bit, you know, you had to stretch your suspension of disbelief a little bit, but it was a bit of fun. I did enjoy it, but yeah, there were times when you were like, could you have done that really? Is that a little bit stretching it a bit? My Mechanics, awesome band, yeah. They've played in Portsmouth a few times, and I've almost seen them, but I haven't seen them yet. Oh, and also Michael Mechanics are fronted at the moment by Roachford, and Roachford's great, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's carrying on from your comment about the more the John Wick films go, the more ridiculous they get. Yeah, that's often the case for action films, isn't it? I understand, Elaine, but the entire film is Keanu Reeves avenging his adorable puppy. It's very cathartic. They are well punished. Nice. What's that? Oh, Taken. That's it. Taken. Yeah. Because that's the other thing that, because that whole cathartic thing, you're really rooting for him, and then when he gets his daughter back, it's very awesome because you're like, yeah, come on. But then obviously he killed about 1 million people on the go, which is why it makes sense that the second one is like, well, you can't really get away with it, mate, because now they're after you, which works really well. So yeah, Taken, good films, much better than Taken. Okay, so the John Wick's better than Taken. Glad the bastards got theirs. I've lost too many friends, and the start knowing about the dog, I would have nightmares for weeks. Yeah, you really get like affected for a long time, don't you? Weeks and months. You were telling me about that, and I think that's probably quite unusual because people would be upset by something happening like that, but I don't think it would play on their mind like it does with you. So I do get it if that's the thing. Michael McDowell, better just wipes out trash humans, never any animals. He's better because he just wipes out humans. Yeah, so obviously Elaine likes to tell us she doesn't care about humans dying. She is a sociopath in that sense. Better not watch John Wick then. Yeah, better not watch it then. One of my strongest memories as a kid, right? This is a bit of a ramble, but this is relevant to the John Wick dog Elaine thing. And I might have said this on the channel before, so I apologize if you've heard this before. But one of my strongest memories is when I was a kid, and I was watching this film called The Great Santini. I was probably like 11 or 12. I was really young. And it's this Robert Duvall film, The Great Santini. I can't remember a thing about it, except there was this scene that, oh my God, I was crying, bawling my eyes out for ages. I couldn't see the rest of the film. I was just crying my eyes out because this Robert Duvall played the main character, and there was these people that were gonna they were gonna kill him. I think he was in this small sort of Winnebago kind of thing, and his dog's barking is like an Alsatian kind of dog, I think, from what I remember. This goes back a long way, obviously, but this Alsatian's barking because they're coming near his home, and they sort of burst in, and then the dog dives in front of Robert Duvall, and they shoot him, and it's just horrible. And I remember just like I couldn't get over it. I was crying my eyes out for ages. Really upsetting scene. So I don't know if everyone remembers that, but yeah, John Wick or Bronson's Death Wish. He's better. Death Wish. I watched that again recently. I don't know how I didn't manage to do that, but it was just like killing time, I suppose. It's all right. John Wick's killing targeted. Bronson and Death Wish just killing random bad guys. Don't think he's ever doles out any punishment to the creeps who destroyed his family. The first film, I think the first film is targeted. I think he's after those 3 or 4 young men. I think they're early 20s, maybe. They're quite young, kind of hoodlums. I think, from what I remember, the first film is very much him just going after those specific people. I think then it just ends up with him just randomly killing people, I think. But I think that's true for the first one. But, you know, that was a while back. So anyway, I was going to talk about Rocket Summer. So Mark Avon hopefully still here because it's his event and it's been just absolutely brilliant this year for me. I've got it written down. I've written down the stuff I've read, and I've read 23 short stories and 5 novels this month, which is amazing for me. I think one of the things is short stories work well for the way my time is divided. If it's a novel, sometimes I have to get back into it, and sometimes it's harder to kind of connect again sometimes, so it doesn't flow as well. With short stories, usually a lot of short stories I can read it in one sitting, and if it's 2 or 3 sittings it still kind of works. So yeah, that's been really cool for me. It's the only event really, because even with Horror Mayhem I try and read novels more than short stories pretty much, but yeah, this is the one where I really concentrate on short stuff. I was the weird kid who cried when Clint Eastwood napalmed the giant rampaging spider tarantula. First Death Wish was about his family. Jeff Goldblum, one of the 3 punks. Was he really? I like that. If that's true, that's cool. I can't remember that. I know Jeff Goldblum randomly appears in a party for about 3 seconds in Annie Hall, which I think is great. He's on the phone, I think, and the camera just sort of sweeps past him. I think that's quite funny. That's before he was famous, obviously. I love Jeff Goldblum. So yeah, I wanted to talk about the fact that this has been so good. And the last one I read was my favorite one of the month. And it's just, I filmed the last vlog bit, so that's going to appear on the channel next week. And I did a little book haul thing. And I also read a little bit in this book where Robert Silverberg talks about Robert Sheckley. It's really cool because I'm a big Robert Sheckley fan, massive fan of Robert Sheckley, but I think he's quite underrated. So it's really nice to see in this article he'd written about him, he was big news, and he wasn't underrated in the 50s. So it's just, I wasn't alive in the 50s, didn't realize. So that was really good to read. So I kind of read that out in the video as well. So that's going to appear soon. So hopefully that'll be interesting. But this was given to me by Chris. So if you're still here, Chris, I am so grateful. I forgot my mantra, Annie Hall. Is that a quote in the film? Because, or is that what he says? Did he say that? That must be a quote from the film. What a great film. Jeff says, oops, hello, hold on. Been working my way through the amazing anthology, The Good Old Stuff, edited by Gardner Dozois. Rock Summer. So many wonderful stories in that collection. Yeah, I mean, so many great science fiction is in the form of a short story, you know. Google says Gordon was one of those guys, and definitely. Okay, yeah, cool. Good old Google. Can always double check this stuff. Because I'm drawing a close on Rocket Summer, so it's technically the 26th of July now, because I'm into the Sunday now. Some of you guys are still on Saturday. Don't forget to kill your wife. that's a story. So because what we've got a few days left, but I'm going to concentrate on a few other things. So I'm going to try and read Restaurant at the End of the Universe, because I'm rereading Hitchhikers at the minute. So I read the first book again, which was glorious. I read it a few times. This one I've only read once, I think. So really loved it, but it was a long time ago. So I'm going to read this again. I am. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, Sunday morning for the people in Japan, and for Goatman. Where's Goatman then? Let me know. I'd like to know where he is. But also, I do remember some of this, because some of this is in the BBC adaptation as well, and I remember the BBC adaptation quite well. But I'll be watching that again as well once I've read the first 3 books again. So this is the second book. So I want to read this before the end of the month, Restaurant at the End of the Universe. And also, I want to read this, Space Brooms, which is a new book. And it is science fiction, but I feel like, and so is that, but I feel like I don't want to stress too much on the contemporary stuff, because it's supposed to be celebrating vintage science fiction. So Space Rooms looks like a really good, fun book. So I really want to read this. It's been on my shelves for a while. So that's one I want to get to before the end of the month as well. And there's The Walking Dead. I put a stop on this for a bit because I read 5 of them during Horror Mayhem, and I put a stop in it because I had 3 left, and I felt like, well, once I've finished these 8 volumes, I'm going to have this massive gap where I don't read anything else, because I knew I couldn't buy any more Walking Dead for a while. And I've been really enjoying reading the comic version, obviously the original version, before it is adapted into TV. Really enjoying them. And then I got this, which is volume 5 of the bigger compendiums. And these have 6 comics in them. These have 12 comics in them, and these are the next bit. So this gives me what's that, 18 in here and 12 in here, so it's another 30 comics here. So that's pretty cool. And then it gets, I think the Governor story is finished by the time I read all this stuff, and the Governor story is pretty intense, and much more nasty and violent, believe it or not, than the TV show. And the TV show is pretty strong, but it's really, really nasty in this, really horrible. So that's really cool. So I'm going to be reading this in the next little while as well. So it's nice to get back into The Walking Dead. I am a huge fan of the show. I'm very excited that they've now announced there's going to be another series where Daryl and Rick reunite, which is awesome. So the Daryl, I don't know if you watch The Walking Dead, but the Daryl series, there's been 3 seasons. That's my favorite spin-off. So I love the main series, but the Daryl stuff, if you're not going to watch anything else, you're not going to watch the Negan one or the Rick and Michonne one or the one about the kids or Fear the Walking Dead, if you're not going to watch those, I would recommend you watch the Daryl Dixon ones, because they are so good. The first 2 series are set in France, and the third one was set in Spain, and they're really good plots, really interesting characters. And it's kind of a really good thing they did with Daryl, where they kind of gave him a moral dilemma. He has to basically look after a kid for a lot of the first one, and then in the third one, when they're in Spain, he's trying to deal with this couple that are on two sides of a conflict. It's done really well, and he's such a good person to be put in that situation, and it's just really lovely to see The Walking Dead set in France and Spain. There was a moment where it was set in England for I was like, oh, this is awesome. And what's his face was in it. Oh, come on, what's his name? The guy who wrote The Office with Ricky Gervais. Oh, what's his name? It was so good to see him, and he was only in it for 5 minutes. It was such a shame. But yeah, that was really nice. They were in England for a minute, and then they go to Spain. But still need to hear my comments on Hitchhikers. Okay, I will send you a message. Another note with so Elaine won't watch The Walking Dead. A friend loaned me season 1, first 20 minutes. A horse. Oh, horse died. Jesus Christ! I left the room before anything happened. Okay. Oh, you didn't even know if the horse was. I think the horse is fine actually. Although does the horse might get surrounded by zombies. Yeah, well, animals do die in these things. It's just one of those things. Stephen Merchant, there it is. Yeah, Stephen Merchant appears in season 3, and I really like Stephen Merchant. So that was really cool. He's in Logan as well, isn't he? He's a really good character in that. But it was so nice to see him in this in the Walking Dead series with Daryl, and he was a really interesting character where you weren't really sure if he was telling the truth. And if you can imagine Stephen Merchant doing this, he was like full of yeah, let's do this, and he was really like trying to ingratiate himself with Daryl, and then you weren't sure what his motivation was. It was really good. Walking Dead is just too nihilistic for me. Some awesome zombie killing action in there, but way too much human on human nastiness. Yeah. It is true. There's some nasty bits in it, and that's why it's such a powerful show, though, for me, because because The Walking Dead happened at the same time as Game of Thrones was getting really popular, and I really like the Game of Thrones. There's no doubt about it. I love the Game of Thrones series. But what I always thought was better in The Walking Dead was they weren't killing off characters as frequently, so you got to know them, and it really did matter when they died. So there are real tense scenes when they were in jeopardy, and you weren't sure what was going to happen to them, and it mattered because you spent some time with them. Whereas I don't know that happened as much with Game of Thrones. It's more like pieces moving on a chessboard, rather than you being upset that someone had died. I remember when Robb Stark died in Game of Thrones, didn't give a toss, so he's one of the big characters, whereas with Walking Dead, almost everybody you're like, oh, when they die, pretty sweet. Yeah, great character and really interesting actor. Want to see nasty humans, I can watch the news. Good point. Well, we were just we did if you've been watching Gavin's 100 Years of Science Fiction thing, me and Gavin and Pat talked about where are you? Did I move it? I could have sworn I put it down there. The Death of Grass by John Christopher, and I think it's I could feel a bit of a Walking Dead element to it, because it's very post-apocalyptic, because the world's gone to shit, because nothing can grow. And this was written in the 50s. And it's quite shocking how nasty some of the characters are, and how nasty really the main character gets as well. And Pat was saying it was quite shocking, because there's this sort of middle-class Englishness about it as well. You imagine he's walking around with a pipe going, oh, yeah, marvellous. But there's some real horrible moments in that book. And I think it's that thing that if the apocalypse happened, we know how bad people got during COVID, for Christ's sake. People can get nasty. I don't think it's inherently in our nature to be automatically nasty, but we do get bad when resources go, and so I do think it's a really good plot point and style and tone to put in those things. I think if you didn't, then it wouldn't really be very realistic, I don't think. I wonder where that's gone now. Oh well. Speaking of zombies, let's do this. Less Than Zombie by Douglas C. Winters, brilliant. It's in the Book of the Dead, edited by Skip Inspector. Oh, awesome! You're doing a video on it. Skip Inspector, interesting combination. John Skip and is it Jeff Spector? I remember in the 80s, I think they were kind of linked together a lot in the 80s, I think it was. So I have to catch up with that live discussion with Gavin and Pat. Death of Grass is great. Yeah, it's a really interesting discussion. Yeah. I love that book. I thought it was really cool. And I liked it more the second time as well. First time, I did a review of it about 4 years ago on the channel. And I liked it more this time for some reason. I don't know why. I think I was less disconnected by how posh it was. Which shouldn't really matter. There we are. The plethora of bad people in plethora, that's better. The plethora of bad people in The Walking Dead is completely realistic, but I'd rather watch something with a little more hope. There's hope in it, my friend. There's definitely hope in it, and that's yeah, there is hope in it, but it does show that even sometimes the good guys do bad things as well. It's just brilliant. Craig Spector, that's it. Craig Spector, Kings of Splatterpunk. Yeah. Goatman says currently I'm on the road near Beanley, Old Australia, between Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Oh, nice. I'm glad you read out people's responses. It makes it possible for viewers driving around. Yeah, I've seen live streams where people just answer what's written, and I feel like I get it, but even I can't follow that very well, and I'm watching it sometimes. So yeah, it's weird. I think it's important because they don't even put it up on the screen, let alone read it out. So I do think it's important. So I'm glad that you're enjoying that, and thank you for listening while you're on the road as well. So Australia. So yeah, you're well ahead. You're what, 12 hours ahead or something. You've been enjoying Sunday for a while. I've got a gig today, so I'm going to enjoy today. I'm going to do a little bit more book tidying, and then I'll probably have something to eat, and then I'll probably have a kip, and then I've got a gig tomorrow, which would be a nice one. It's like an acoustic trio gig. It's me and my son and Ian in the band, and that should be really cool. And we're doing a song that we don't do very often because you have to have the right circumstance. It's a song I wrote about homelessness, and I did it for a homeless charity, and it's been quite a hit on Spotify actually. And there's a special video we did on YouTube. It's called "It Could Be Anyone." If you get a chance to listen to it, it's a song I'm quite proud of, and it's a song that goes down really well. But it's a song that we can't do very often because it's quite sad and slow. Usually, most of our gigs we do the up tempo stuff, but tomorrow's audience, I know they would like that kind of thing. So we're going to do "It Could Be Anyone," which is nice because we don't get to do it very often. And it's a song that every line is 3-part harmony. So I love those kind of songs. There's only a few songs where every single line is in harmony. So I do love that. So that's something I'm really looking forward to, as well as, some of the ones that they will expect us to do. I tried to read out all the responses, though with StreamYard's small print, I often read them out badly. Yeah, I know I've struggled a few times because I've got my glasses here, so I could, if I really struggle, I could put them on, but yeah, I don't really want to do that because that will, don't know, I'll be like this all the time rather than a bit further back. You don't want to see my face that close up, do you? So anyway, yes, I agree. Sometimes it's hard to read it out. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy going back to Walking Dead. There's a really cute graphic novel here called Wake Up Percy Gloom, and I got this. I was having a rough time, and I thought I'd treat myself to this, and then it went a bit funny. I think I was getting it on eBay, and then eBay said it was out of stock, even though they were selling it. It was a bit weird, and I kind of moaned about it to my wife. Said, "Oh, I can't believe this. It's like they said they had it, and now it's out of stock." and she very quietly ordered it, which is really nice. And I've got the first one. It's just called Percy Gloom, and it's down there. But I don't think I'll be able to. I don't think I'll be able to get it out without moving loads and loads of stuff. But it's a really lovely and quite a unique, bizarre kind of graphic novel. There, it's kind of got a bit of a cartoony style artwork, but it's kind of a really weird reality. And it's just really, really nice. I really like the first one. So I haven't read this yet. So I want to read this before the end of the month as well, because I've had it for a few months now, and I really want to read it. So that's one of the other things one of the other reasons why I'm cutting Rocket Summer short on the 26th of July. So that's a thing. And then in August, I'm not going to be doing Garb August this year because I'm going to be reading The Grapes of Wrath. So the reason why, because you could go, well, why don't you read The Grapes of Wrath and some garbage stuff? Well, I'm kind of expecting this to be quite heavy. I don't know. I've read like 6 or 7 other Steinbeck books. Apologies for saying 6 or 7. 6 or 7 other Steinbeck books, and loved all of them, but I haven't read the 2 big ones. So this one and East of Eden I haven't read yet, and I feel like this is kind of like the heavier end of what he writes. So I am going to read this, and in between I'm going to be reading stuff that are not linked to an event or whatever, so I can have absolute free reign on what to read in between to kind of lighten the mood a little bit, maybe, or to just give me a fresh read of some kind. So yeah, that's going to be my big plan for August. So I don't know if you saw on the channel, a few people have seen it, the 50 Ways to Leave the Planet project. So that is going to be underway next month as well. So some of that will go in between this. So that's 50 books that I'm going to be reading over the next 2 years that are some of this science fiction stuff that have been sitting there for a while. So I'm really looking forward to reading those. But Grapes of Wrath is a big thing. And then also, no, not sure what I've done with that either, but I'm going to be reading It before the end of the year as well. So like I've said before, I've read a lot of Stephen King, but I haven't read It. So I don't normally read books that are that big, but I feel like I should read that because a lot of people say that it's their favorite Stephen King book. But more importantly, it's very Stephen King, like it's about kids, it's about fear, it's got loads of different elements that I've heard enough about it to know there are big set pieces where someone's fear is properly developed in a scene. So I think it's going to have lots of King elements that would be really cool. So I need to read it. So that's massively on my radar now. It's been on my radar for a while, but obviously I needed to be at the right point. And I'm going to when I'm reading it, I'll probably just be reading that, I think. I don't think I'll be interrupting it with anything else. So that's on my radar as well. So is Jeff going? Did Jeff have to go? Hope your live goes well. Thank you. This was fun. Got to run. Enjoy the rest of Rocket Summer. Everyone in the chat, take care. Thanks, Jeff. I'm so glad you managed to make it. And Elaine says, take care, Jeff. So yeah, that's another thing. And I'm buddy reading June with a few people as well. But I think we've moved that to October, I think. But I'm not 100%. But I think so. So next weekend, I think we're trying to finalize it, but I think next weekend will be the live discussion of The Word for World is Forest. And people have been quite patient on that front because I think everyone read it, and I read it as well a while back, but I've been slow at organising the live discussion. So that's just me focusing a little bit and things getting hectic at the end of the college year and juggling different things for the channel, and then going on holiday. So yeah, everyone's been really lovely about all that, because we need to talk about that and Dispossessed. But I'm hoping that we can get something together for next weekend. And also next weekend, I'm going to be a guest on James from Quaint and Curious Volumes, his channel, because him and Randy Ray do a regular cinephile thing where they talk about films. And we're going to be talking about The Incredible Shrinking Man. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a huge Richard Matheson fan, and it's a great film. So we're going to be talking about Incredible Shrinking Man. And I thought it was worth saying on here, again, Jeff is probably a candidate for this, but he's gone now. But if anyone would think that they'd be interested in being a guest on the Desert Island Flick series, I've done 10 now, and I love doing them. I love doing them. It's just getting people to talk about 10 films they love, and usually the chat's quite lively, and it's usually just a really good couple of hours where we just pick 10 films and talk about it, and usually start off with what was the last film you saw in cinema thing, which is also it's nice because we're just not just talking about 10 old films, and usually someone can say about why they like cinema as well, which is quite nice, because I do think it would be a shame if the cinemas went and everyone was watching stuff in their front room or on their phones. So yeah, that's also an element of the Desert Island Flicks as well. So I just wanted to do a shout out for that as well. That's on my list. Elaine's just said, new kitten, new grandson, your life's been busy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have seen Milo since I've been back, but I haven't seen him for a couple of days, so I need to hopefully see him tomorrow. Well, mind you, tomorrow's the big gig, so maybe the day after. Yeah, no, absolutely. There's been lots going on, which is all good. I wanted to just let you know about some tag stuff that's happening as well. After the Rocket Summer video, there's going to be the BookTuber roll tag. I filmed that a while back, but that's going to be appearing soon. So if you've liked other people's tags of that one, that's coming up. And I'm going to do a very specific response to the "if I couldn't buy another book," and I'm going to use that tag to talk about the amount of books I've got rid of, the fact that I'm going to get rid of another bunch of books. I'm going to link it to this project that I started at the beginning of the year called 2 out of, what's it called? 3 out of 5 ain't 3 out of 5 ain't bad. Was that called? I don't know. But it was this thing where I did this jokey meatloaf thing at the beginning, and I was gonna concentrate on the books I read. It was like my version of reading What Your Own Challenge, but that's been dealt with in a lot of ways by the amount of books I've got rid of. I've got rid of hundreds of books, and I'm hoping that in the next few weeks I'm going to do an audit of the books I've got left to see if I've got rid of a significant amount of books, because I think I have, but I thought that last time, and then it ended up that I had more books because I obviously wasn't aware that I was buying more than I was getting rid of. But I have got rid of a lot, and I have slowed down on how much I bought, so I should have got rid of a lot of books. It feels like I have. There's a lot less in the loft, and I can see what I've got a little bit more in this room. So I'm not going to stop buying books, but I'm trying to be more careful and not buying it for the sake of it. When I was buying books today, there was a couple of books I put back thinking I don't really need that. So I'm kind of being a little bit more critical about it, Can't buy another book, Nightmare Fuel. Well, yeah, it's an interesting tag. I think one of the things about buying books, because this is not about, because a lot of people have said, oh, well, I've got loads of books to read, so I don't need to buy another book. But nobody's really talked on their response to that tag about how much fun it is to buy a book. The fact that it's so exciting. When I found these books, where are they? I found these books today, and these are so rare. Ace doubles are so rare in this country. I think they're more visible in America, But over here, it's so rare to find them. So to find this, you get this awesome vintage cover, and then you flip it over, and you've got this great Andrew Norton one called The Crossroads of Time. So this, I found this today. This is in the Rocket Summer video, and then I saw this awesome one, The Illusion World, Gordon and Dixon. You flip it over, and it's spatial delivery. nice bit of wordplay. But these were so rare, and it was just so exciting. So if this thing about not buying a book, it's not that I've got others to read, it's that these were so exciting to find, to see that in front of me, and I had the money to get this, and then to go, oh my god, that's amazing. It's not about what you're going to read. It's just not. Clearly that's an element because you want to read the books you buy. But finding a book and getting excited about what you've just found is a genuinely wonderful thing that's different to I don't know when I'm going to read these, but I wanted them because I want the ability to read them, and they look gorgeous, and they are very exciting because they're so rare. And, I am going to read them, but that's not the same. It's not the same as the excitement of buying it. So I'm going to talk about that in my response to the tag. I mean, where is it? My Charles Addams books. I bought Monster Rally in America for $24. This tiny little book, but I collect Charles Addams books. So I already had, where is it? I already had the big hardback of Monster Rally. Yeah. But when I saw it, I couldn't resist it because it's like, this is another version of something I'm collecting. So again, it's not about, I can read that already. I don't need that because I can read it. Obviously reading in inverted commas because it's not a lot of words. Some words, but not a lot of words. Some words. But it's like collecting books, and you can't collect everything. I've scaled down what I collect, but there's an excitement to finding something. It was so lovely seeing that because I didn't know what, and an old paperback, the original version of this, the first edition of this book. What did it look like? What did it feel like? Blah 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 blah. These were issued a little later. So that would have been the first version that he would have got excited about. And I've got a few of these original small paperbacks, including the first ever collection of his stuff, drawn and quartered. And this was the only way I could get Nightcrawlers, actually. So that was really cool. So, if you collect a particular kind of book, and there are some authors I want to be a completist of. If I see a Bradbury I haven't got, I'll get it. That goes beyond the reading of it because I've got about 4 versions of Fahrenheit 451. I've got 4 versions of the Martian Chronicles. So I don't need to have those, but it's the fun and the excitement of seeing something, a different version of what you've got, and getting that, Elaine agrees, absolutely. My thrift store is amazing, great finds, great prices. Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Beast Reads. I don't buy many books for myself, but I enjoy taking my granddaughter to the bookstore. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, isn't it? That if you certainly, I like trying to buy something for someone else's taste is really exciting as well because you want them to enjoy what they get. But if they've got a similar taste, that's also really exciting as well. If you can go, oh, you love this, blah 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 blah. That's a nice thing. I almost got kicked out of a bookstore when I was 17 because I lost it over finding Spider Kiss. Spider Kiss, yeah, well, Spider Kiss was one of my first Harlan Ellison books, so it's pretty rare. But weirdly, I found that just on a shelf in a secondhand bookshop when I was 15. When I was 15, I discovered him thanks to my mate Steve, who turned me on to loads of stuff. He was one of those people that was well beyond his years. He was the same age as me, but there was something about his upbringing that meant he just knew about lots of stuff. And he used to frequently go to London. I didn't go to London until I was 18. It was this sort of mystical place. But yeah, he had all this stuff in his house. I was like, where'd you get this stuff? And he introduced me to Harlan Ellison, and I found All the Sounds of Fear and Spider Kiss. Those were my first two Harlan Ellison books. And Spider Kiss is really rare, and it's not like any of his other books as well. And one of the things I want to do next year, hopefully I can start this next year, and Chris, you would relate to this, but I'm going to specifically read his early gang fiction. So I've got a few of them now. I think one or two of them were ones that you gave me, but I had some before as well, and I bought something since. And there's this period in his writing before he started concentrating on science fiction, which was written about gang warfare in what sort of places he grew up in LA. And I want to read that and kind of talk about it. And there's non-fiction stuff he's written as well as the stuff where he's fictionalized it. So that's something I want to tackle next year. So it's an element of Harlan Ellison stuff that doesn't usually get looked at. I am going to do my top 10 Harlan Ellison short stories before that. So that's something I've almost filmed about 3 months ago. So I actually had the short stories chosen, and then I started get excited about doing my top 10 Richard Matheson stories. So I've filmed that, put it up on the channel, and just completely forgot about the Ellison one. But I'm going to do that as well. And then by then, I was going to do my top 10 of the part 1 of the J.G. Ballard ones as well, because I would have finished that by then. Funny, I was in London when I was 16. You were in London when you were 16. That's cool. Oh, not London. Is London a big place in Canada? Is London has it got cultural significance? Is it like our London? I mean, there's a real special. I feel quite romantic or whatever about our London, and my wife thinks it's really stupid. She doesn't like London. She doesn't like busy places. She doesn't like walking around London. I love walking around London, but she doesn't like it. Is it that kind of place? Canadian London? I thought Cherry was in the room then, but she's not. It's just the way that the shadows are moving around the room. But yeah, what's Canadian London like? Let me know. Tell me, Elaine. What's Canadian London like? I'm intrigued. One day I'll go to Portsmouth in New Hampshire. It's so weird that you got these places that take English names. Just under 500,000 people. Yeah, that's quite different to London. So not very similar at all. So yeah, but I'd heard so much about it, obviously, and my mate kept going there, and I couldn't. I lived in I had a very humble childhood. My mum was a single mum, and she was on benefits, and there's no way I could go to London. So I went to London. On school trips. We went to the Science Museum and Natural History Museum and the British Museum as a school trip, but that was it until I'd left school, and then I ventured out to London. The first time I went to London was to go to a gig, and it was so funny. It was such a dramatic first time. But I've go there a lot now, obviously. But it doesn't. I think maybe because I had those years where I didn't go, it's never got old. It's never felt ordinary. I've always loved it. We've got some cultural stuff and events, subdivisions, farms way out of the city. But I'd never heard of London in Canada, so I know you've got some big cities in Canada so I'd love to go to one day. But Just hadn't heard of London. So yeah, you've got tons of cultural stuff, tons of stuff going on in Canada, but I've never heard of London, so I thought that was interesting. So yeah, am I going to go? Oh no, I'm going to do one more trip while I'm on holiday. I've got another 24 days off, and I'm going to do two things. And one of them I was picking between going back to London or going a little further out and going to the Book Barn. And I'm going to go to the Book Barn, so I'm very excited about that. I have to go to Bristol and then go take a bus from Bristol. If I go early enough, I should have lots of hours in the Book Barn. It's apparently like this huge place that is like a farm that's turned into a place to buy books. So yeah, that's one thing I'm going to do while I'm off from college. But yeah, I start back a few weeks before my wife starts back at school. Constance says I was in London when I was 17. So that was London. That was presumably London somewhere else, right, Constance? Is Constance, are you American? You're not Canadian, are you? I'm getting confused now. I apologize if you are Canadian, but I thought you were American. I don't know why. In London. Ah, cool. So you were in London, in London, England, and you were 17. That's pretty cool. So you were there before I was there. Well, no, I had been there for school, so I had been to London, but not on my own trip, on my own recognizances, as they say. I was on school trips. So, and there's like school trips that come down here sometimes because of the D-Day Museum and the Mary Rose exhibition, all the historic ship stuff in Portsmouth. We have a bit of like a bunch of tourists come down to us as well, which is quite nice. So yeah. Yeah, does that mean I'm not going to London again? I don't think I'm going back to London this in this summer holiday. That's a shame. But there we are. You can't have it all. So the only other thing I was going to talk about was Adrian Tchaikovsky, which we've already talked about. So if you're new to this and you didn't see the beginning bit of the video, on Tuesday afternoon, for me, it'd be Tuesday afternoon, late afternoon, early afternoon for Dave, actually. We're going to be talking to Adrian Tchaikovsky, the science fiction author, writer of Children of Time, but initially a fantasy writer, and someone who plays D&D. And he plays D&D, I think he plays D&D with Claire North, which I will ask him as well. I'm a big Claire North fan as well. Hold on. Elaine says, I turned 17 in Bexlon-C. Vacation, came back to Canada older than when I left. Well, Bexlon-C as in England. I'm getting confused now. Listening while walking to the store. Oh, cool. 100% agreed about the joy of hunting for and buying books. Also, I'm down for joining you for Desert Island Flicks. Awesome. I imagine your 10 will be very similar to mine. I'm always intrigued to see the 10 films that the people pick. And I always ask to see the list beforehand in case there's something I can try and quickly see if there's something I haven't seen. But luckily, most of the time I've seen the films. When Sean D. Stanfast did his, I don't know if you watched that one, but I hadn't seen hardly anything on his list. Now, like, I think most of them were like before 1930. It was quite mad. There was one that he really liked that was like 9 hours long. So Sean did a very special one. In England, yes, awesome. American, yes, American, yeah, 1776. You're 17 and 76. Wow. I was 5. I was born in 71. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I always get a bit worried because I can't differentiate that well between the Canadian accent and the average American accent. I know there are some more extreme American accents, like like the Southern Belle kind of accent. I wouldn't have thought that was Canadian, but there's like a soft American accent that I don't know if that's Canadian or not. So I definitely can make a mistake on that front sometimes, if that's the thing. So I'm glad I didn't make a mistake. Nice trick, Constance says. Oh no, yeah, that was possibly when Elaine said she came back to Canada older than when she left. I like that phrase. So yeah, I wanted to do a bit of a catch up. There's lots of things I wanted to talk about, but I did want to make sure people knew that the Adrian Tarkovsky thing was happening, and if anyone did want to send a question, and I've had a few questions from Heidi, and like I said, if you do want to ask me to ask a question, then if you're watching this on the replay, just put it in the comments, and if I see it before Tuesday, I can try and slip it in. And obviously it's going to be live, so as long as there's not tons and tons of people in it and we can't control the speed of the chat, then because one thing I found, because I don't know if you've seen my more political chats I've had with my mate Jono, but there's so many people that appear in those chats, I can't keep up with I literally can't. People just talk to themselves. I can't put those comments on screen, so I get a little taste of what it's like for the really popular people who just ignore the chat, and I understand more. I understand more the people that do that super chat thing when people pay for a comment, because in that way, if you can't keep up with the speed of the chat, at least you can hone in on something now and again, and that's probably the only way you can do it. So I do understand that, and I haven't done that myself, but I understand why people do it. And Elaine says, when your time, Gareth, when your time. What does that mean? When is it on my time? It's 5 o'clock my time. 5 o'clock in the evening. So for Dave, it's going to be noon. I said midday, and he said nobody says midday. It's noon. I was like, okay, I'll change it to noon. I wasn't sure if people said midday, but I thought noon sounded quite old-fashioned. So anyway, I changed the thumbnail so it said noon. So in Eastern Daylight Time, I think it's called now, it's noon. But for me, in the UK time, it's 5 o'clock in the evening. So if you're somewhere else, you can work that out according to where you are. So hopefully, because I know Al in Portland, he's 8 hours apart from me, isn't he? So Dave's 5 hours apart, but Al's 8 hours apart, which just freaks me out. Do you know what I mean? There's a country that has loads of different time zones. And Japan, Jeff's in Japan, and that's I think that's 11 hours difference, I think. And weirdly, South Africa's only 1 hour difference. So I think that's kind of interesting. Constance will be there. Thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, the stream. Goatman says, I grew up in Tamworth, New South Wales. Australia. Yeah. I'm guessing Tamworth in the UK has a bigger population. Yeah, it does. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, because obviously Australia's built from British people moving to Australia, and America's built from British people and other people moving to America as well. So there is some sense in the name is being reused, but it's just funny, isn't it? It's just confusing. But yeah, it's fine. Noon for me. I'm same as Dave. So Elaine's going to be noon. Central US will be 11 a.m. Oh, so there's another one. So there's a third time zone as well, which I wasn't aware of. So where Constance lives, it's going to be 11 a.m. So keep an eye on that, guys. The best way to do this, because I do this when I'm not 100% sure, maybe it's around the time where we change our clocks. Sometimes I'll just go onto the actual live stream page and see how many hours it says. If it might say 3 days, But if it's the same day, it will say 3 hours, 4 hours, and you can get a sense of when it's going to be. So you could do that if you go onto the page itself and it'll tell you when it's going to be. But yeah, it'll be 5 o'clock PM UK time. So, which we were kind of working around Adrian, obviously, and he had to change it quite a number of times. So I asked him to do the last change. So he bumped it up a little later. So hopefully we'll get more people in as well from that time. So there we go. We'll see what happens. I'm very excited. I mean, it's Sunday night now, or no, Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning now. Got 1 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock in the morning for me. So it's kind of a day and a half, 2 days and a half, 2.5 days, and then I'll be talking to Adrian Tchaikovsky. So Constance says there's 4 zones in the American clock. Okay. So I'll look it up. I'll look it up because I think it'll be too complicated for you guys to explain in this kind of chat. I'll look it up because that's intriguing. Yeah, I've got to figure out where I'm going to visit next as well. We might be coming back to America next year, maybe. Me and my wife are talking about that. It'd be nice to see Dave again and to see Joe again. Maybe see Pat this time as well. So that'd be nice. But we're also going to Mykonos again this year, and I'd like to make my second attempt to go to Copenhagen next year. So we'll see. But all very cool. Con says YouTube shows are time arbitrary. Sonnet. Time on it. Time. So it's our time on it. Yeah. Gareth like a kid at Christmas. Sammy sleeps to the big day. Yeah, absolutely. I knew what you meant, Constance. Yeah. No, the same for me. I mean, that's why it's quite a good way of looking it up. So yeah, hopefully we'll have some people in the chat, and it's going to be very cool. I think I'm going to leave it there. I think. Has anyone got anyone? I'll wait for a second. If anyone wants to ask me a question or say anything that will blow my mind, then please do. Or ask me a random question if you want. I've still got a load of books here that I need to sort out. That was a good book that I read quite recently. I Have Never Known Men. People went on about how good it was, and it was as good as they said. It's really good. But I don't know whether to keep it or not because, I'm trying to cull stuff that I don't need to necessarily keep. So I don't know. It's very good. Very, very good. Do I need to keep these? No, don't worry about that. Yeah. Constance says sorry. You don't have to say sorry. It's all good. Well, I've had some really funny. I've been away from my wife for various reasons. She's just gone away. I went away. There's been some really funny typos, some predictive text things that have happened in my conversations with her. Chris says, just want to thank you for praising my channel. Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's worth another reminder. Please subscribe to Chris's channel. It'd be really nice if you can get to 100 subscribers. I'll try and do a community post as well, because obviously you guys may have already subscribed to him. So it'd be nice to kind of do that as he's so close to 100. And it does feel good when you get to that point. Cherry Moon, gotta see ya. They just, dude, they're just curtains. They're just curtains. Wow. So, you just let your cats do whatever they want, do you? Reading Stars of My Destination. Yeah. Reading with Dave. Awesome. That's such a good book. And have I? Because I've rearranged my books. Have I got it there? Where are you? No, I think it must be further down. Yeah, there it is. Fantastic book. Fantastic book. Are you enjoying it? How far have you got? Let me know if you enjoy it. It's one of those books that doesn't let up as well. It kind of starts quite quickly and just keeps going. There's no slow moments in it. It's just like bang, 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 bang. So yeah, I've got, because they're double breasted. I've got like some of my SF Masterworks behind as well. You have seen the pictures and videos of my kids rule a house. Well, if they were actually kids, then that wouldn't be such a good way of parenting. Just let them do whatever they wanted. I think you could probably see that. They need boundaries, and Cherry Moon needs boundaries. She can't just destroy my wife's clothes and the curtains. She needs boundaries, and she's got boundaries because she's not in here anymore, which is a shame. I missed her a lot as well when I was away, and I do like the fact that she always wants our company and she follows us around. It's lovely. Some cats are a bit more aloof. All of our cats have been quite affectionate, which is good. And we've deliberately, because we've had Cherry Moon since she was tiny, and we've deliberately been very hands-on to try and encourage her to be affectionate. So that's really good. I think it's important. Yeah, so she's saying that's deliberate. Yeah, it's a very different thing. Stop liking the main character about 50 pages. Oh no, I don't suppose you're supposed to, I don't think you're supposed to like the main character. So don't worry about that. You're not doing anything that Alfred Bester doesn't want you to do. I don't think Alfred Bester likes the main character. So yeah, it's definitely a different reading experience. What was the thing that we read where you said that you had to get your head around that, Constance? Quite recently, you said that there was something we were reading, and it was doing your head in, but it kind of won you over by the end of it. What was that? Because that was again connected to the main character, I think. What was that? There's a bit of a delay, I know. You're going to put up a message and I'll get it in about 20 seconds. But I remember you sending me a message saying that you were struggling with it, and then it was kind of like, okay, I've kind of got used to it. What was that? But yeah, you're not supposed to like the character. Well, yeah, I'm 100% sure you're not supposed to like the main character. He's a bit of a dick, really. And that's true for the other. So there's two big Alfred Bester books. There's The Stars of My Destination and The Demolished Man. And The Demolished Man, the main character is a dick as well. So maybe he's good at writing that kind of, horrible man. Although I read a really cool, what was it I read by, hold on, what was my Alfred Bester stuff? There's all this Rocket Summer stuff. What was Alfred Bester? Oh yeah, Fondly Fahrenheit was a really interesting story that I read recently by him. And I read last year as well. You'll notice in the vlog that I did that I read the story today and completely forgot that I'd already read it last year. And it was really funny because I was reading it. As I started, I was thinking, God, this is such a rip-off of something I've read before. And then as I'm reading it, about 4 pages, I'm like, no, this is definitely the same story. I'd forgotten I'd read it. But that's kind of a dislikable character in a way, but it's a much more complicated thing because you're not sure who the narrator is in that story. So it's very clever. They have limits. Water spray bottle also works, except for Xena, who loves water. So yes, so you don't. So you do have some control. This is important. When Charlie's Algernon, yeah, Flowers for Algernon. When Charlie's character is being a prick, prickly. Yeah, yeah, that's right. He's not perfect character. I think you got a lot of sympathy for him at the beginning, and then I think that changes a little bit, and it's more. Although I think prickish, yeah. I think it's slightly different because obviously it's the experiment that's turning them into that. It's not necessarily. It's a comment on what someone with an immediate burst of intelligence might turn into. So, yeah, I think it's bloody brilliant. I love that book so much, and I thought it was like there. So what have I done with it if it's not there? Where is it? Who knows? Got my some of my Robert Sheckley. I've got a box of Robert Sheckley in the loft, but I've got a few Robert Sheckley ones there. It's quite nice to have the science fiction stuff here. There was a book that I mentioned in my 50 Ways to Leave the Planet that nobody has commented on yet. I thought more people might go, oh, you're going to read an Ian M. Banks book, because this is like one of the most talked about series of science fiction books, especially on BookTube as well. But it's something that I haven't read any of them yet. So I'm intrigued to know what I think of that. So I'm not sure what the S is about because there's a delay in there. But anyway, I will start signing off, and then someone might make a comment. So which is all good. But yeah, lots on the go. Lots to look forward to. Tuesday's a big day, and I hope I'm prepared enough. And I hope he enjoys it. I mean, that's the important thing, isn't it? I want him to enjoy the experience and to think it was worth his time. And what a nice man, just agreeing to appear on this live stream with these two random people. Worth saying as well. I will say this on Tuesday, but I have to say this is thanks to Dave Brzezinski. So. Dave Brzezinski, if you have seen lots of our shows, you would have seen him as a guest. He's the editor of the Occult Detective magazine, guy with a big beard. He is the one that got me in touch with Aidan Tchaikovsky. He's the one that suggested I got in touch with him via his website. So we've had a long correspondence since that started, but it's Dave Brzezinski that started it, that suggested I got in touch with him. So, got to thank him for that, and I'll thank him again on Tuesday. Hopefully he'll be watching it on Tuesday. So yeah, I thought it was worth saying as well. So yeah, Hugs and Kisses, sharing Ralph. Ralph is it's funny because you don't notice he's there, and then you'll notice he's put his head on your foot. That's kind of his, and obviously when you're feeding him, sometimes you've got to make sure he knows that you've just put the food down, because it takes half an hour to get to the other side of the room, and he's just this doddering old man now. But I love him to pieces. I love Ralph very much. Elaine, this has been great. Thank you. Big thanks to everyone for a lovely evening and chat. Take care. Thank you everybody. That's a nice way of signing off. Thanks everyone for appearing in the chat. Just as I'm saying goodbye, someone else has just appeared. So whoever you are, thank you for appearing, and thank you for joining in. Everyone that's made a comment, thank you so much. Anyone that's just watched it and listened, because I know what it's like sometimes. Sometimes you listen, but you can't make a comment because of how you're listening to it. You're doing something else at the same time. So I very much appreciate it. And as always, stay curious, everybody. Stay curious, everybody. And I'll continue shuffling my shelves. I've got a bunch of. I've got to decide where to put those books. They're over there. And I'm going to put my guitar and my mandolin back over there as well. Waffle. Hopefully see you on Tuesday. Thanks again. Bye bye.